Hey guys, I have a huge secret that only a handful of people in my life really know the intimate details about, and I am going to share it with all of you in hopes to shed light on an issue in our society that I think it's really, really important for us to talk about. So here I go. About almost 15 years ago, I had met a man who was incredibly enchanting. He was a video film producer, also a director and screenplay writer, an Olympic gold medalist in Taekwondo, a former Marine and LAPD. He was incredibly charming. And somebody that always made me feel super special, gave me tons and tons of attention. And when I was going through, some emotional stuff in my life, during the time I met him, he was very, very comforting and really there for me, and wanted to spend a lot of time with me. And, one thing led to another, and within a very, very short amount of time, just about 4 months, having met him and gotten to know him, a promise ring had turned into a secret marriage where we had basically secretly eloped. And things were great. I mean, I was kind of a rebellious child growing up, and so doing something like a secret marriage wasn't exactly a surprising thing for me to have done. But it was a very adventurous time in my life. I thought he was the love of my life. We were having lots of fun. We really connected. But there was this one day where we had a fight, and he had pushed me. And at the time, I was just thinking to myself, I was a little bit confused, but I was like, well, it's not like it was painful. We had a really big fight. It's not like he put his hands on me, and so I pretty much just dismissed it. And as time went by, one push turned into two pushes, which eventually and gradually turned into pushing me to the floor, which later on turned into a higher level of physical altercations. And in a heated argument, I had gotten to a point where he had hit me. He had pulled my hair, being dragged across the floor. He had kneed me in the stomach. He had kicked me. And at one point, I remember there being a Japanese katana, which he'd keep a bunch of different ones around the apartment. And I remember him having it to my neck at one point. And I had no sense of how quickly it spiraled from the one push. It was an incredibly dark and scary and lonely and isolating time in my life. And it was something that I took a lot of responsibility for, having been somebody that was his wife. I took it upon myself to feel like I needed to change him. I took it upon myself to feel like I was the one that was going to help him heal from all of the trauma that he had experienced in his life that contributed to why he was reacting to anger in his life in this way. And I was really embarrassed, talking about it with a therapist at the time, talking about it with friends or family. And so I masked it a lot. And that's when I kind of started to distance myself a lot with people that really cared about me in my life and who began to suspect things. Um, Eventually, long story short, I had come across a theater production that I auditioned for, thank God. And little did I know, the whole intention with the theater production was actually in efforts to end violence against women. And it wasn't until then that I had realized what I was actually tolerating, who I had become, and the lack of self-worth that I actually had. And eventually, with the community that I had, with the mentorship that I had, with the sisterhood that I had grown, I mustered the strength to be able to divorce him and walk away. And I never turned back. And I share this with you because more often than not, there is somebody in our life that is experiencing that or has known somebody that has experienced that. And so if it's you or somebody that you know, it's a lot more common in our culture, in our society, than we are comfortable in talking about. And we need to speak up about this, and we need to be able to get up on the soapbox and share with people what is happening so that there isn't shame in reaching out for help and stepping into the light about this issue. I want to share with everybody that, don't mistake infatuation or physical chemistry with somebody for love. And if you or somebody that you know who's been in a relationship for a long time, or maybe it's just been a short time, and starting to see small signs of somebody not respecting you, whether that is emotionally, whether that is psychologically, or maybe you're feeling a little manipulated, whether it's physically abusing or even sexually abusing. If you are being encouraged to do something that you're not comfortable with, or somebody is intimidating you to be something or do something that you don't want to do, or making you feel worthless by talking to you or treating you in any specific way that makes you feel uncomfortable, just know that you're not alone. And there are resources out there that will help you. And just because I didn't have enough self-respect at that low point in my life, it didn't mean that I couldn't decide to respect myself and decide to choose a different path in my life. And the truth of the matter is, we have the power to shape our reality, to shape our future. We have the choice to be able to decide what we allow and what we don't allow in our life. And I want to remind all of you that you're more beautiful, more powerful, and more worth being treated like the queen you are than you know. And all you need to do is own it and love yourself relentlessly. So with that, thanks so much for listening to my story. I guess the secret's out, but I hope I've been able to inspire or empower you or somebody that you may know can, get some support from you. And I'm happy to have been able to speak up. Thank you so much.